Hey everyone! So a few days ago I posted on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter kind of a get to know your tarot reader kind of opportunity. I figured as a tarot reader I get to know a lot about people that I don't know personally, so I thought this might be a good opportunity to have you guys as current and or potential seekers or clients or just people who want to know more about me and my practice. I thought this would be a really good opportunity for me to have you guys get to know me a little more. So I asked you guys what you wanted to know about me, and I got quite a few responses. So I thought today I would go through the questions and give you guys the answers that you hopefully want and need. So to start with, the first question I have is, how did I get into tarot? I got into tarot out of a need to hone my intuition. I've always had a really, and I know that's such like a woo-woo answer, like, oh, your intuition. But let me explain. I've always had a pretty strong intuition. I've always had really strong gut feelings about things. Not about everything, just about, there come certain times in life or certain times when I, knew for a fact something was going to happen, and it did. And it was always kind of freaky because I kind of always thought when I was little, or when I was younger, that these feelings that I had would then cause things to happen, so it would kind of freak me out a little bit. So I was at dinner one night with a friend, and I was like, you know what, I think I'm going to go buy a deck of tarot cards to help with my intuition. I've always had a strong sense, of what was going to happen sometimes, and I wanted a channel for that. Upon saying that, I kind of suddenly remembered that when I was in my early 20s, I used to get my cards read about once every season for about 2 years. So I went, in my early 20s, probably about 6 or 8 times. Maybe not that many, maybe like 4 or 6. I can't remember. It was a long time ago. But I used to get them read, so I kind of made that correlation and thought, why don't I just get a pack of cards myself, learn how to read them, and that way I can, offer myself the guidance and advice that I was searching for, not only, through my discovering and honing my intuition, but through, when I used to get my cards read, I used to go a lot to kind of get, get clear answers to questions that I had, the reason that people go to a tarot reader for. So so ultimately I got into it because I wanted to, kind of help hone my own intuition, but it also kind of, harkened back to a day where I used to get my cards read, and that kind of stems from my love of mysticism and all things occult and esoteric and witchcraft and magic and all that stuff that I used to love when I was a kid. I used to be so into that. If Harry Potter had come out like 2 years earlier than when it did, I would probably be the biggest Harry Potter fan in the entire world. But by the time it came out, I'd already kind of grown out of it. But I've always had a very, very, very deeply rooted love of all things mysterious and magical and mystical. And, as I've gotten older, I kind of pushed to the side. But now it's back in full force, and I am extremely happy. So hopefully that answered that question. The second question is, how long have you been practicing tarot, and when did you decide to become a paid professional? I've only been actively practicing tarot for about 2 years. In the first year, it was all by myself, very much, sitting in my bedroom with the cards on the bed, just looking at them, journaling about it, reading. I didn't read a ton of books. I got a lot of my insights online from YouTube videos or different websites, like learntarot.com, Kelly Ann at the Four Queens. There are so many videos and websites out there, and I kind of use the free resources a lot to kind of hone my skills and learn as much as I could. I decided to become a paid professional probably almost about a year ago. I felt comfortable enough to start giving people readings that weren't my cats. So I signed up actually at biddytarot.com to be a free reader. And the way it works is you can basically sign up to be a free reader for email readings, and you get people emailing you saying, I have this question, and you basically just answer it using tarot cards via email. So it gave me a really good way to practice spreads, to get comfortable with the card meanings in the context of a reading. it was interesting because I would like to say because it was free, there was no pressure, but I felt an enormous amount of pressure because these people trusted me to give them the answers that they were looking for, and I felt the need to do the best job that I could, so it really helped me, become secure in my answers, and again, it helped my intuition, and it helped me really understand how to put a story together using the cards, because back then I wasn't a huge fan of using spreads, so I just kind of laid the cards out and see what they told me, and I got some awesome positive feedback doing that. I don't think I ever really got anyone saying I was wrong or I was incorrect. Everybody was really supportive, which was really awesome. Sorry, one second. Oh, stop it. Sorry, my cat's eating a cord. So I got some pretty awesome positive feedback, and that kind of gave me I did that probably for 4 months, I want to say, off and on, until I finally had the confidence and what I felt was the needed support to open up an Etsy shop. And I kept that Etsy shop running from probably until about the beginning of the springtime of this year, and I transferred all my readings and all my reading options to my own website. So yeah. The next question is, what card in the major arcana do you think represents your current place in your journey? My gut instinct was to say the Fool. I think I'm always in a perpetual state of the Fool. I'm always ready to take that leap. I'm always looking for the next best thing. I'm always looking for the next exciting adventure. And, tarot has really opened me up to that kind of, really examining that kind of feeling and that kind of lifestyle. So I would definitely say the Fool. I'm a perpetual fool. I'm a perpetual idiot, always looking for the next thing that's going to mess things up. But I really, really like it. I like that feeling of spontaneity. I like not knowing what's going to happen next. And I think, running your own business or, living this kind of modern mystic lifestyle, you don't know what's coming next, and I think that's pretty awesome. The next question is, what card do you choose for yourself? My significator at the current moment is the Knight of Wands. I am an Aries male and identify as an Aries male. So I choose that card. However, the more and more I learn about astrology, the more I understand and realize how much water there is in my chart and how much Pisces is in my chart. Pisces and Neptune rule my chart, despite me being a fire sun sign. So I really also identify with the Knight of Cups as well. But when I'm doing a reading for myself, and I need a significator or choose to use a significator for myself, it's always the Knight of Wands. And usually on social media, if I post a picture of me holding a card up, it's usually the Knight of Wands because that's what I choose to identify with. Do you read the tarot intuitively or go after what is said in the books? I think Benabel Wen in Holistic Tarot put it really, really well. And it was my belief before I read it, and just reading it really reaffirmed it for me that it is my belief that in my practice, I have a good understanding of what the traditional meanings of each cards mean. The Six of Wands means victory, and the Three of Swords means heartbreak. I think having a really good understanding of the basis of the cards is really important. However, I also think that reading them intuitively is important as well. So if you're doing a reading and the Two of Swords comes up, which traditionally means decision, but it's in the spot in the spread that means relationships, it could mean being torn between two lovers, feeling like a fool. So I think it's important to have a basic understanding of the cards, which I do. I worked very, very hard to get a basic understanding of all the cards and have the ability to spout that basic understanding or that basic meaning, at the top of my head. But I also read very intuitively, and I also read, whatever I feel the card's trying to say in that particular spread for that particular person at that particular moment. So I don't just memorize the card meanings and say, oh, well, this means Two of Swords, this means decision, this is the Sun, this means self-expression, this is the Three of Wands, this means that, you've started something, great. It all really depends on where the cards are in the spread and what the question is, and what I think they're meaning at that particular moment. How long did it take you to get comfortable reading the cards? I would say a full year. That first year I studied and practiced on and off. It wasn't like a straight, I had my nose in a book 24/7, but I read the cards and I studied them on and off for about a year, and it took that long to to really get comfortable with the meanings. I think the biggest thing that helped me, I know a lot of people are huge advocates for a tarot journal. The thing that really helped me was my Instagram account. The reason I started it was to post a card a day and to just kind of post what meaning came to me, and in the combination of the traditional meaning and what I was feeling for that day. So that helped me a lot. So I always say that, if you're not really into journaling or not really into writing your things down, start a social media account. I think it was a great way for me to meet other readers. It was a great way for me to meet, I guess, like-minded individuals. And through that, I have, through my social media and through my Instagram and Facebook, I have a lot of people I consider friends who I've never met in person, but who are amazing members of this community. So it took me about a year. It took me about a year to learn them fully. And the social media really helped with that. So I am a huge advocate for Instagram and Facebook and all that. And posting your cards and posting your card meanings and asking for feedback. So it always helps to get what other people's interpretations are. I don't really believe that you ever really learn all 78 cards, and then you're done. I think each card always has something to teach us, always has something to say. I don't think that there is one true, hard, fast meaning for each card, and once you learn it, that's it. I think every card has infinite possibilities, and that's something that I really love about tarot. On a scale, this might be my favorite question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you like cats? Well, I have 2 cats. This is Aria. She doesn't like to be held. I used to hate cats. I was raised in a family of dogs. I had dogs growing up, like big dogs, like labs, pit bulls, terriers, big dogs that were, strong and stupid and lovable. So I always thought cats were mean and distant and not very loving. But my tune has since changed. I've met some pretty amazing cats in my life, and I now have 2 cats. I have Aria, who we just saw, and Freya, who is my wonderful black cat. Because every tarot reader needs a black cat. Just kidding. And I've come to find out that they have such little personalities, and they are loving and caring in their own way, and you just got to get to know them. And I love them, and I love cats, and I love dogs, and I think on a scale of 1 to 10, as far as animals, I am at 100,000 because I love cats and animals and dogs. How easy is it to detect BS now that you have tarot? Do you use the cards to detect it, or do you feel your intuition is better? I've always been able to detect bullshit from like a mile away, with or without the cards, so the cards haven't really had any part of that. I can see through people pretty well. I think, again, it has... Oh! There we go, cat. I'm using their scratcher to hold my laptop, so they're very into what's going on right now. I've always been able to detect bullshit. I think goes back to my natal chart. There's a lot of Pisces, a lot of intuitive nature going on there, so I've been able to pick up on people's bullshit pretty easy all my life. So I didn't really need the cards for that. I haven't really noticed an increase in my ability to do it since reading tarot. It's just kind of something that's come naturally to me. So I can get a pretty good feeling for somebody, within the first, I would say, minute of talking to them or meeting them. I can get a good feeling for, what their intentions are. They always say that first impression is the most important. I'm definitely someone who goes off of first impression, so make a good one. Best job, first job, worst job, and what would you do if you did not read tarot? Best job I've ever had is this, of course. Getting to read tarot and getting to, get paid for what I love and what I'm passionate about, and in helping people, I think, is the number one thing. And the number thing why I love tarot so much is, is just helping people. It might sound corny, but it's true. My first job was I worked at Tim Hortons for 2 summers over college, and I actually really liked it. It was fast food technically, I guess, but I really, really enjoyed it. I worked with some really cool people who I got along with really well. It was fast-paced, and I was able to keep busy the entire time I was there, which is something I need. I need to keep busy all the time, or I start to wonder. Worst job, I was a waiter for like a month, and it was horrible. I was the worst waiter in the entire world, and I would not wish my waiting skills upon anybody. So because of that, I sympathize with waiters. The only time you will ever get a horrible tip from me is if you're just blatantly rude, and even then I'll probably still tip you. But I am a huge over-tipper because being a waiter is one of the hardest jobs I think somebody could have. And if you don't agree with me, you've never been a waiter, try to go to be a waiter for about a month and see, and your tune will change, I guarantee you. What would you do if you did not read tarot? I started my college career as a musical theater major. I grew up doing theater and being on stage, so I think if I wasn't a reader, I would continue pursuing that. I still think I might. I do live in Chicago, so I live in a huge, thriving theater community and scene. So I think in the back of my mind, it's always like, ooh, I should try one more time. I would also love to be a writer. I love to write. And my degree is actually in journalism. I changed my major to journalism, so writing has always come very natural to me. Pisces and Mercury, or Mercury and Pisces. So I think I communicate best through the written word. As you can see, the ums and the stuttering are not verbal communication is not my best if I'm not prepared. But I would definitely like to be a writer, I think. Have you ever used tarot to determine the dateability of another person or yourself? I never have actually used tarot for that. I've taken a look at natal charts. I think natal charts say a lot about that, but never tarot cards. I haven't actually really done a lot of relationship readings. A lot of the readings that I do are career-oriented or, kind of like life purpose-oriented. I don't get a lot of relationship readings, which I think is interesting. I think a lot of tarot readers do get a lot of those, and I don't for some reason. I don't know why. This person asks, I want to know about the most memorable... Oh, this is from Bennabelle. I want to know about the most memorable reading you did for yourself. I actually don't read for myself. It's actually been... I've only very, 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 as of like the past maybe month or so, started reading for myself. All thanks to Bennabelle's book and how she has a new chapter about how to read for yourself and how to take yourself out of the situation to be the best reader for yourself. I always felt that reading for myself I was too biased and I couldn't give myself a clear answer because I was just looking for the answers that I wanted to hear. I have since tried to get away from that. And actually very recently, actually it was about a week ago, it might have been a week ago today, I did a small reading for myself about a career option and what it would look like for me creatively, and I pulled 4 wands, which was like an absolute yes to me. So that was pretty awesome to see that kind of that my feelings being reaffirmed by the cards is pretty awesome. But I don't read for myself too often. If I have a decision to make, like a pretty big decision, I will pull a card or two just to see like what my subconscious links to those cards. But as far as like doing full-out spreads, I haven't really done it for myself, but I'm kind of working up to that because I'm starting to learn how to read for myself. What were some formative experiences in your life? I think going back to my theater days, my days in the theater, growing up on stage in front of people and making people laugh and cry and all that kind of stuff. It really shaped me. It not only shaped how I view my creativity, and but it also shaped my work ethic. Doing theater is hard. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of dedication. So I think in my practice or in my work life in general, because of that, I am very dedicated and I'm very I push myself to be the best that I can all the time. It helped me get over shyness. It helped me become a very prepared person. So whenever I have a project or a job, I like to be very prepared because I feel more secure when I'm prepared, and that kind of goes with theater. It's given me a great ability to work with other people. Theater is all about teamwork and working with other people, so I'm really good at that. I may not always like working in a team, but when I have to work in a team, I am very good at it. It's also given me the ability to be flexible, because when you go into theater, everything is memorized and planned, and you hit your mark, and this is when the lights go off or the curtain closes, but because it's live, things don't always go the way it's planned. So I'm very adaptable even though I'm a fixed sign, I'm very adaptable and I am able to, go with the flow. So I think theater really, really helped me with that. And then last but not least, what are your favorite movies? Such a loaded question. My favorite movies, well, the Lord of the Rings trilogy is probably at the top. I love the Lord of the Rings. I think it's a beautiful, magical, mystical journey. And I could watch all 3 extended versions in one sitting and be the happiest person alive. My second favorite movie is probably Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind with Jim Carrey and Kate Winslet, directed by Michel Gondry. Kate Winslet rules the world for me, and I think she could do anything, and I love, love, love her. So any movie with her, I'll see or watch. Some of my favorite, guilty pleasure movies, I love the movie Ever After with Drew Barrymore and Angelica Houston. It's like a modern Renaissance version of Cinderella. I love the Renaissance. I'm a huge Renaissance fair geek. And that time period I absolutely love. So that movie I absolutely adore. I've probably seen it at least 50 times, if not more. I can quote it from top to bottom. And then the movie Clue. It's from the 80s with Leslie Ann Warren and Madeline Kahn and Tim Curry. It's based on the board game Clue. I can also quote that. I've probably seen that movie 100 times, and I can quote it from top to bottom. It's so dumb and funny and weird, and I love that movie. Those are the questions that I got. I hope that was fun for you guys to listen to. I hope I didn't ramble too much. And thank you again for asking me these questions and getting a chance to know me. I hope it allows you to get to know me a little more since I, get to know so much about everybody else. That's all that I have. If you guys have any questions, comments, leave them below or follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I'm on all the social media. And I look forward to talking to you guys soon. Thanks so much.